My name is Carol Henderson, and I'm the director of the National Clearinghouse for Science, Technology, and the Law. And we're very happy that you're here to participate with us in our Law and Science lecture series, which is sponsored by the National Institute of Justice. Of course, as you know, today our speaker is going to be Dr. Henry Lee. I could say perhaps Henry doesn't need any introduction because all of you know a lot about him, but I'm going to give you a few highlights. Of course, he's written more than 37 books and hundreds of articles. He's testified in thousands of cases. He even has a new TV show starting in June on Court TV. And a little known fact is he has a show in Las Vegas on April 17th. In fact, of course, with all his accomplishments, his resume could be published like a book. And of course, you saw we do have books in the back for him to sign later if some of you have purchased them. He's been involved in many cases of great notoriety, such as the O.J. Simpson case, which is coming up on 10 years ago, believe it or not. He's also involved in the Scott Peterson case, the Phil Spector case, and he testified just last week in the Jason Williams case. Dr. Lee cannot walk through an airport without people running up to him and asking for either his autograph and or his opinion about a case. That's the public Dr. Henry Lee. But I want to introduce the Henry that I have known for almost 15 years. He is an extraordinary person. Henry has an insatiable curiosity and is on a constant quest for knowledge. In May 1995, I was teaching a course on expert witness testimony in Anchorage, Alaska. And I look out in the audience and I said, "Henry, what are you doing here? You have testified in thousands of cases." And what he said is, "I can always learn something new." That's the sign, I think, of a great teacher. He is engaged in a lifelong pursuit of learning. And he is an incredible teacher. There are thousands of people all over the world who have been Henry's students. And they are all kinds of positions, both federal and state. They are ministers of justice in foreign countries. So people from all walks of life can claim, "I learned from Henry." He has vision, which I think is one of the most important things. When I told Henry about the Institute and the clearinghouse that we're putting together here, he was very encouraging and offered great advice. He always wants to learn something new and enjoys challenges. In fact, he and his wife, Margaret, just took up golf a year and a half ago, and you know how frustrating golf can be. He's a dedicated forensic scientist and has a terrific sense of humor and is a great storyteller. But if I keep talking, you'll never hear from Henry. So when I spoke to Henry yesterday and to confirm a few last-minute details, one thing he told me, he said the most important thing in his life is friendship. And I'm very honored to introduce my friend, Dr. Henry Lee.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. Thank you. What a great pleasure to be here. Actually, I work in a local restaurant in St. Pete. Carol come over, say, "How about I give you $50 and some pizzas? Come here, pretend Dr. Lee." And, she also made the cake, so for that, I come here. Thank you for the $50, and goodbye, everybody. Well, we talk about it, what topic area Carol want me to talk about. She is a wonderful teacher, a good leader, and most importantly, a good friend. I was showing her, I said, I have 460 different talks in that little computer. And she said, talk something, some new technology and something about your life. So I decided to use this topic. If you don't like that one, just raise your hand, all right? So I can talk something else. Like my dinner talk, they already start booking year 2006. I can't eat another dinner anymore. Lunch talk is way booked and already, so they start something called breakfast talk. They think I need breakfast. I learned a good lesson 2 years ago. A senior citizen group invited me to give a breakfast talk. I live in a small town called Brantford, outskirts of New Haven. The talk in a town called Putnam I know most of you don't know Connecticut. It's far, far, near Massachusetts borderline. 6 o'clock, breakfast talk. Literally, I have to get up 3:30 in the morning. Drive middle of the night. I say, I really need that breakfast. Got to the Senior Citizen Center. The director said, Dr. Lee, we usually, every 2 months, invite a speaker, senior citizen get together. Usually about 15 of them showed up. Today we have 300. We don't know where they come from. I said, don't ask me, how do I know where they come from? I thought senior citizens don't eat. You should see them pack away those scrambled egg and bagels. I was so amazed at watching them eat. Forgot about I have to get up and talk. When they finish eating, now I have to give my speech. I put together a very, very mild talk. No bodies. I don't want to upset senior citizens. 5 minutes later, in my talk, an old lady got up, said, Dr. Lee. I said, yes, ma'am. We get up early, want to see bodies. 5 minutes now, you haven't shown a body yet. I said, excuse me, and I have to run back to my cruiser, get a new talk. Now the computer is wonderful. Anything you want, I can show you, even Kobe Bryant case. And of course, I'm on the wrong side, always on the wrong side. I represent prosecution. So I can't even get you a basketball. If I represent defense, I can give you each one a basketball. Well, what I'm going to do a little bit today is some new technology in forensic science. Why forensic science is so important? I'm really lucky I have a chance to travel around the world. I set up a career dream, say I want to visit 2/3 of the country in the world. I learned one lesson in your life. Don't set your dream too high. If you set too high, I say, I want to visit all the country, then you feel disappointed. If you set a goal comfortable enough, you just say, I want to be a good lawyer. I want to be a good cop. I want to be a good detective. You can achieve that. If you say, I want to be a chief, not always you can be a chief. So you feel your life is a failure. So I decide 2/3. So I'll get into that number now. Travel around the world. One thing I found out, doesn't matter which country, Africa, Asia, Europe, of course, United States. Citizen only concern 2 things. One is economy. The second is crime. That's 2 major issues for anybody's life. Economy, not much we can do. My stockbroker keep telling me I lost my pension fund. I only have half of the value of my original pension now. But I do know a little bit about crime and safety. So I will stay away from economy, just talk about crime, all right? Now, if you look at the world, why? The violent crime has increased almost 45% in the last 10 years. The worldwide. In the United States, BJS estimate lifetime risk become a victim of homicide. U.S. total, 1 out of 133. Which means every 133 people, one going to get killed. Today, we probably need 3 volunteers. Usually we volunteer the dean, right? Now, 3 volunteers. Of course, if you're male, you have better chance to get killed. 1 out of 84. Ladies, you are the luckiest group. But if you're male, I'm black. 1 out of 21. Think about that number. Recently, I did further study. If you're male and non-white, which including black, Hispanic, and Asian, 1 out of 14. After I read that number, I feel like a sitting duck. 1 out of 14. of course, all those cases, we have to solve it. The justice system in our country is built on the trust of the citizen. Many other countries built on the fear of the citizen. Early days in China, we just talk about no crime. You got caught, you got executed on the spot for dealing drugs. Singapore, after 5 people get executed, the rest of the drug dealers just run. Like Singapore, you remember, one of the teenagers went to Singapore, did some graffitis. What he got? He got canned. Excellent. All right, I make you my deputy. All right? Here, Carol, go make her a deputy. The yellow dressed lady said, got canned. All right. All right, got canned. You think when that young man go back to Singapore, he dared to do another graffiti? No. That's why when we visit Singapore, they invite me as keynote speaker for the 75th National Congress meeting. I took my wife, Margaret, with me. I said, Margaret, you can do anything, but don't do any graffitis. I cannot save you. I said, don't chew guns. Singapore, you cannot chew guns. It's interesting because the island is small. If everybody chew guns, throw a gun, probably in 2 years, this whole island piled with guns. So you cannot chew guns. If you litter, throw a garbage on the street, you get caught. Sweep the floor for 2 weeks and found $500. That's why city is so clean. Meanwhile, we drive on the highway, you see the car in front of you, roll down the window, poof, a McDonald's bag hit your car. They think the highway is a garbage can. Which system is better? It's difficult to tell. I enjoy the system in this country. Prove beyond reasonable doubt. We have to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. That's why in recent years, forensic evidence become important. The new criminal investigation is based on information theory. Early days, it's pretty easy. Some of you know 45 years ago, I was a police captain in Taiwan in charge detectives. That time, we solved any case, every case. How we solve it? Just run up all the suspects until one confess. If nobody confess, we take them to the back room. 5 minutes later, get 7 confession out. Everybody confess. I said, Jesus, we have everybody confess here. Who is the real suspect? Just lock them all up. Our clearance rate is 150%. We solve more cases than actual cases. Of course, you know that's wrong. A lot of innocent people cannot stand the pain of interrogation. They confess. That's why today we have to find information. And crime scene recognition become the foundation of information. Scene pattern, physical evidence, witnesses statement, data mining, all that can give us information. So that without information, it's really difficult to solve the case. A good investigator is the one who have to find those information. A good lawyer, doesn't matter you're a prosecutor, defense attorney, you have to know the information, either prosecute a case or defend the case. Information is the power. Where can we find information? Of course, start from the crime scene. The crime scene, just tremendous amount of stuff waiting for us to recognize it. The point of entry, point of exit, spider web, dust particle, everything give us a piece of puzzle, tell us the story. Today, the crime scene investigation is a teamwork now. Doesn't matter your local, federal, state. We have to work together. Not like early days. That's my turf. don't ever walk in. Now we all have to share the knowledge, the experience, and work together. For example, this fire, I got called to the scene. Called to the car. It's pretty easy. Some of you know 45 years ago, I was a police captain in Taiwan in charge detectives. That time, we solved any case, every case. How we solve it? Just run up all the suspects until one confess. If nobody confess, we take them to the back room. 5 minutes later, get 7 confession out. Everybody confess. I said, Jesus, we have everybody confess here. Who is the real suspect? Just lock them all up. Our clearance rate is 150%. We solve more cases than actual cases. Of course, you know that's wrong. A lot of innocent people cannot stand the pain of interrogation. They confess. That's why today we have to find information. And crime scene recognition become the foundation of information. Scene pattern, physical evidence, witnesses statement, data mining, all that can give us information. So that without information, it's really difficult to solve the case. A good investigator is the one who have to find those information. A good lawyer, doesn't matter you're a prosecutor, defense attorney, you have to know the information, either prosecute a case or defend the case. Information is the power. Where can we find information? Of course, start from the crime scene. The crime scene, just tremendous amount of stuff waiting for us to recognize it. The point of entry, point of exit, spider web, dust particle, everything give us a piece of puzzle, tell us the story. Today, the crime scene investigation is a teamwork now. Doesn't matter your local, federal, state. We have to work together. Not like early days. That's my turf. Don't ever walk in. Now we all have to share the knowledge, the experience, and work together. For example, this fire, I got called to the scene. Right away you can see here dark red, cherry red, yellow cherry red, yellow color, and bright yellow. What it tells us? Dark red, 975 degrees Fahrenheit. The cherry red, approximately 13 to 1400 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it becomes yellow cherry, it's about 16 to 18 now. 2300 degrees and 2700 degrees. Shows us the hottest spot. Multiple origin, 5 different spots. Right away, that's a suspicious fire. Once the fire is suppressed, the items in the house, in this place, can tell us what they melt. The copper, the lead, plastic. If the melting pattern did not consistent with the fire pattern, that's another suspicious sign. Without even searching the scene, we already know that's an arson. So crime scene pattern is extremely important. Of course, over the years, there are many methods searching a crime scene. Every textbook says have 7 methods: line search, strip search, grill search, spiral, well, zone, and link. Because we have so many detectives here, and a law enforcement officer, Carol, said, talk a little bit about crime scene search. That's my mission, so I'm going to cover that. And in reality, line, strip, grill, just one method for outdoor. Search outdoor. If you search twice, becomes a strip. You search crossing, becomes a grill. Spiral, really not much application. Think about a detective Stay in the center of the scene. Start making turn, make a spiral. 2.5 hours later, what's going to happen with that detective? Dizzy and fall, can't see anything. Why they including that? You probably asking me, I see some of you bought my book, why in my book mentions spiral? The only reason is, if other book have 7 methyl, I only have 5, you guys must be, that's an inferior book. And that's why mentioning all 7 methyl. Spiral methyl only work on spiral staircase. All right? When you have a spiral staircase, use that methyl. Well, methyl's own search link. Outdoor search, which in generally you say line search. Line search, basically, officer and volunteer will line up. One common mistake made is the commanding officer doesn't want to share information. Oh, we can't tell people what we're looking for. If you don't tell them what you're looking for, what they going to find? 36 beer cans, 16 condoms, and come back and hand Dr. Lee, we found all those stuff. You have to brief them, tell them, we're looking for a body, we're looking for a weapon, we're looking for a vehicle, we're looking for something. Line search, if you made twice, then become a grill and strip. Those green vegetations, who can tell me what's all those green stuff on the ground? Grass? No. Those are grass. You're right. Those are grass. Thank you very much. And what are those stuff? Poison ivies. In China, we don't have poison ivy. 1964, I come to this country, I learned poison ivy. Now I've become a poison ivy expert. I can tell you that's a 3-day infection. I can tell you that's a poison sumac. Mixed with poison ivy, you have to suffer another 8 days. Every time I see those green stuff, call recruit class. Why we call recruit class? Also good, give them an exercise. So you see all these recruits start searching. The real trooper watch recruit. They don't search, they watch them. Me and the colonel sit in the car drinking coffee. When you guys find something, call me. That's called rank carried away, right? Zone search, basically for indoor, we divide up a zone. Depends on case nature. Homicide, the target area is most important area. Robbery, burglary, the point of entry, point of exit is important. Fire, arson, explosion, we start the less damaged area, move towards most damaged area. That's why you have to look at the case nature, then design your search pattern. A link search just use a logic process. If you found a tire truck at the scene, what should you looking for? Come on. Who said vehicle? You say that? All right. St. Pete College and student, all right. Give her a hand. A vehicle. Of course, over the year, got a lot of law enforcement agency, professional organization contact me, asking me to give a talk. Yes, Dr. Lee, we know line search, we know grill search. Can you teach us the real method of search? Why you get to a crime scene, you can see things, we don't see it. I said, well, because Caucasian have big eyes. You look, you don't see. Chinese who have little eyes, we have to focus on the evidence. So they keep asking me, and so about 2 years ago, I developed this little talk, and a lot of professional journals want me to write an article. Some even want me to write a book. I say, you really can't write those things. I said, pretty simple. You go through crime scene, you use a standing technique. You stand up and look for evidence, right? If you don't see anything, you bang a little bit. So bending technique. If you still don't see it, you bend more. And then if you still don't see it, you squat it, all right? But most of Caucasian cannot squat, so you're kneeling. And some of you heard Dr. Biden was here a couple months ago. When you're getting too big, too heavy, drink a lot of beer, you can't squat, you can't knee, guess what? You sit, all right? So then you use a combination method. That's all the method available. Standing technique, I'll give you some example. Standing, well, what? When I search a vehicle, I have to stand. Can you see that? I can't really lie down, so you're standing. And it's interesting, the crime scene search, always one person works, the rest are watching. Can you see that? So sometimes we have to search each other. Standing technique, search each other, practice. That's a Anstra case. We went to the house, that's a real Anstra case. So we have to decontaminate ourselves. Now, you have the evidence, the body on the ground. So you don't stand anymore. You're standing, you don't see things. So bend. That's called bending technique. Can you see that? Here, the body found a street corner, a new body. Found a street corner. Dr. Carazula's been working with me for 30-some years. He can't see anything, so he bent. Still cannot see anything. He used an advanced bending technique. Bend more with a big magnifying glass. He still don't see things. I just use squatting technique. Can you see that? Right away, I found 3 hairs on her fingernail. And we collect that hair. So squatting technique, very important for criminal investigation. Newspaper always wrong. This case, I was called at the scene. He said, Dr. Henry Lee, kneeling at left, head of a Connecticut State Laboratory. Am I kneeling or squatting? Thank you, squatting, okay. She got correct, all right. Squatting, that's your badge, okay. Squatting. And 2 Caucasian guys, look at it. Advanced bending, still don't see it. With a high magnification, he still don't see it. So learning squatting technique. Kneeling method, this is the first World Trade Center bombing case. FBI, ATF, investigator all there. I was called there too. And they all kneeling. Kneeling, sometimes you destroy more evidence. Also hurt your knee. Think about your knee 2-3 hours. So squatting is much better. And Dr. Biden cannot knee. He drink a lot of beer. So he have to sit. And you see me and Dr. Sherman, we can squat. He from East European country, and only Asian and East European country people can squat. Why? So I was planning to apply an NIGA grant to study that. It's kind of interesting, the culture diversity, the differences. We brought up squatting. You guys brought up sitting. Like my son, my daughter, both born in the United States. They don't know how to squat anymore. Lost the culture. Because when we brought up, that's a combination method. I squat, he bending, the rest are watching. And we brought up in an Eastern toilet. No seat. So every day you squat. So now we're pretty good in squatting. You guys sit all the time. That's why you cannot squat. So for all the law enforcement and the student, you have to practice squat, all right? Experience is important. Experience is a wonderful thing. It enables you to recognize a mistake when you make it again. Is that true? We never learn. You look at the history in this country. Francesco Vanzetti case, Lacey Borden, JFK, OJ 10 years ago, John Benny Ramsey. Now, everyday cases why we don't learn to do a good job at the crime scene, to recognize those potential evidence, find those evidence, then the case will be solved. I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I hate snakes. I don't like snakes. One day, I was called to the crime scene. They found a body, a female, under this cliff. They lowered me down with a rope. When I get down to the cliff, guess what I see? Snake all over the place. I said, pull me up. They quickly pulled me up. Dr. Lee, what you forgot, camera or crime scene camera? I said, no, my experience. They all look at me. I said, send a younger police officer down first. Catch all the snake. Then I will come down. Look how young I am. Can you see that? I used to search the garbage dumpster by myself. When I finished, got home, nobody talked to me. Now experience. Send a younger forensic scientist in first. When you guys find something, call me. This case happened on Mary Parkway. Mary Parkway, also called Route 15, is a early days the major highway between Boston to New York. Since they built Interstate 95, now that become a sort of a scenic drive. No trucks, beautiful drive. One day, found a body and traffic accident. 7 cars piled up. The district commander called me, Dr. Lee, need your help. I said, what? 7 cars piled up. I said, 7 cars, that's small stuff. Just take care of it. Usually 20 cars, then I showed up, but 7 cars, why call me? Oh, Dr. Lee, have some problem. These 7 cars cover about half-mile length of the highway. The whole highway closed. We don't know which car initiated, what happened, sort of thing. I said, okay, come over. I got there right away. I said, something is wrong here. What's wrong? Huh? Only ladies notice that. Which lady said pants down? You? Huh? You notice the pants down? You drive with your pants down? No? Give her a hand. Yes, pants was down. How many of you drive with your pants down? Raise your hand. I'll make you a deputy. Pants down. 2 shots. Contact. Can you see a big pool of blood? Back of the head. Contact. That's the execution style. You say, well, why the pants down? Huh? Obviously, if you study the crime, you know many times organized crime or drug dealer, they kidnap somebody, they take their belts off and tell them pull the pants down so they cannot run. Massachusetts license plate towards New York direction. It clearly tells us more likely this individual was involving some gang activity or drug dealing in Massachusetts, and they kidnap him, take him to New York. Now, he cannot be the driver. So how many people more likely in the vehicle? Could be 3, right? Now, where's the other 2? Okay, all right. That's a good question. And of course, we'll look for our suspect. I know you keep answering questions, all right? Here's your badge. So we solved the case not because we're smart, because they're so dumb. They left their registration in the glove compartment. So I got to the scene and said, case solved. All those detectives look at me, Doc. I said, just go to Boston, that address, I'm waiting for them. Sure enough, got them. And Elizabeth Smart case, that's another example. Shows crime scene, how important it is. You remember that case happened so long ago, right? 13 months ago. That time, police and federal agent have a major suspect. Who remember that suspect's name? Excellent. Okay, that's your badge. Come on, give me a hand too. All right. No. The young man sitting there, Richie, the handyman. What happened with Richie, handyman? He died in the prison. Now the major suspect gone. Richie's wife used to be a poor woman. Now she is a rich lady because her husband died in the lockup. That's a big litigation. They lost the suspect, no place to go. Father keep calling me. That's why you see on national TV, Good Morning American, A Smart Father and police chief keep thanking me. Dr. Lee, thank you so much. Without you, this case probably unsolved. Everybody asking me, why they thank you? I said, I don't know. Probably they want to thank a Chinese. And I'm the only one available. Now the case is over, now we can talk about. Before the case is now over, so I can't really talk about active case. This case, so finally the police chief wrote to me, Dr. Lee, can you help out? So I tell them, I say, I hate publicity. Dr. Lee, going to be a secret meeting. Because they search every place, every inch of Richie's trailer park and took the whole vehicle apart. Nothing was found. I said, okay, a secret meeting. So I got to Utah. A secret meeting, they have hundreds of reporters waiting in the airport. That's called secret meeting. All the reporters said, Dr. Lee, what you going to find? I said, that's a good question. How do I know what I'm going to find? Until I find it, I will let you know. Of course, you remember we just talked about need information. Where can we find information? Crime scene. So we decided to go back to their house. Met the parents, the nicest family. And the father, very sincere, mother, very kind lady, and we had a dinner together, then met the task force, we talked about it. Still have a lot of investigators think could be family involvement. So others still think Richie is the suspect. Anyway, we have to keep our mind open when you approach the case. Don't develop a tunnel vision. Start with a universal poll. Everybody could be a suspect. Then we look at a setting. The house on top of the hill, about 45-minute drive, and up a hill, dead end. Middle of the night, how many of you can find this place? So is this a random hit or select a target? Thank you very much. That's called logic process. Right away, we should know that's a select target. I like aerial view. I usually try to look at it. So I climbed up the top of the hill, took this photo. Surrounded by wood, I say, well, select the target. Where's the point of entry? Process elimination. The front door is intact. No tool marks, no force of entry. All the window intact. Chimney, you have 2 bars. Unless some small person cannot get in. And this skyline, about 30, 40 feet drop, indoor swimming pool. You say, that's too risky. So where is the point of entry? The back door. The back door, of course, they took some photograph that night. The night the case happened, these 2 photos actually depicts the backyard. The backyard, as you can see, have a walkway. Those are huge field stones stacked on top of each other. 47-degree incline. no light. How many of you can find that in somebody's backyard? What it tells us? Somebody either lived there or somebody worked on this in the backyard. So Frank Universal pool quickly reduced to a very small manageable pool. Now, the point of entry, the kitchen window, have a U-shaped cot, a chair sitting under this window. More likely the suspect stepped on the window. That's a high window. Some of the investigators say, well, that's a staging. Why a staging? Because only two legs of the chair can sit on the rock. It's even and unstable and wobbly. When you fall, will break your neck. So that's more likely staging. Then we enter the house, center staircase, either turn the right or left, same way we select a left turn, go through a hallway, 3 other rooms, then end up with Elizabeth Smart's room. Somebody have to be familiar with the house, the setting, and somebody have to be crazy enough middle of the night go into somebody's house, kidnap a teenager. The only piece of physical evidence is the screen. The screen was cut. You probably read the paper, listen to television, talk about it. Say cut was from inside out. If a screen or window break from inside out, usually indicative the inside out. Then plus the chair, then that's a staging. Of course, we're looking for, and we found partial fingerprint here, but not enough rich characteristics to make any comparison. However, today, you can swab the area to do DNA. Trace DNA analysis can help us out. Now you take a close examination of those cups. Turn out the cup is actually from outside in. When I met with the investigator and their scientists, they all agree this cup was from outside in. From outside in, what does it mean now? Could be an outsider now. Can you see that? Could be a co-outsider now. Now, the hypothesis is you cannot stand on the chair. Don't call it the theory. This is not like Kojak or CSI. When they get to the crime scene in 2 minutes, they have a theory. Nobody have a theory. We only have hypothesis. Hypothesis is based on our experience and training, the most logical explanation. Hypothesis, then you use evidence to test. If the test proves that's correct, then you have a theory. Here we haven't tested yet. So I say, well, let's get on the chair to see whether or not we can stand on chair. All the detective, investigator, Dr. Lee, pretty dangerous. Anyway, all my life looking for a challenge. I got up in the chair. Can you see? It's pretty good. Why we know not much at risk? Because you have 2 points plus the third point against the wall. The chair is pretty steady. As long as you don't do go-go dancing, it will support you. So when I finish, I tell the captain, the detective captain, I say, your turn to get up. Oh, he's sweating. Of course, his deputy is so happy. He wants the captain fall so he can get the promotion. I'm 5'8". I cannot reach the cop. He's 6'2". He easily reached the cop. Can you see that? What does this tell us? The suspect taller than me, shorter than him. This is a kitchen window, it's a cranking window. The maximum opening is 18 inches. He cannot get in. He definitely cannot get in. Now what that tells us? Somebody's skinny. You see what I mean? The crime scene investigation is just a logic analysis. We haven't done any fingerprint DNA or trace elemental analysis. Just use our logic, analyze what it tells us. Of course, I issue our report, made a recommendation. They re-interviewed Sister Mary Jean. You look at this Mooney guy, we did some data mining. Father provided a list. Everybody work in the backyard. 6 foot above and thick. Come a person called Mooney. 3 days later, he identified. Investigator did a wonderful job. They did not give up. Family did not give up. The public support. That's why this case solved. So crime scene is so important. Now we're going to move from the crime scene to some new forensic technology, crime scene technique, laboratory instrumentation, DNA typing, DNA data banking, latent print enhancement efforts, and image enhancement, artificial intelligence, crime mapping, case management, crime scene reconstruction. All of those have tremendous advance in recent years. It's impossible to cover everything. So I'm just going to jump around, give you some highlight and talk about a couple of cases. Crime scene, of course, have a lot of light sources. Nowadays, just so many light sources. Which one to use? CSI, light, of course, every night they shine a light, something come up. Like I was recently was in Michigan lecture, sergeant of a small department said, Dr. Lee, can you talk to my chief? I said, why talk to your chief? Chief really mad at me. I said, why? Mad at him, not me. So I called the chief, I said, why? Chief said, I spent so much money, bought this CSI light, identical light. CSI people every night found some evidence. He's a dummy. 3 crime scenes now haven't found a single evidence. So I have to explain to the chief. I say, in real life, we don't have second commercial either. And in real life, you can't shine a light, something pop up. You have to know what services to use, what wavelengths, what cargo, what chemical. So it's more complicated than just shine a light. And of course, we now use portable X-ray to look for missing bullet, and that's developed for Desert Storm. Now we bring to the crime scene. Ground penetration radar. Early days laser is stationary big. Now, for example, early days, this is a case, homemade bomb, we found 2 fingerprints on that. Now the light sources getting smaller, and for example, this we use rhodamine 6G and treat them with chemicals, and then found shoe print on evidence of the case. The light source now even getting smaller now. This is a group of detectives developed this, have 5 different wavelengths and really convenient, handheld. Of course, there are many other enhancement technology, but you have to experiment out, try it out. If you say, well, this is hopeless, don't try, which will you never find evidence. Always take an attitude, try. If you did not find it, fine. At least next morning you get up, you look at the mirror, you say, I try my best. If you don't try, then you don't know whether or not you have evidence. For example, this case, initially, Detective Major Crime Squad called me, and medical examiner have a question, thinks that's a bite mark on her back. When I examine, I said, now it doesn't look like a bite mark. I say, here, have some shoe print. 14 detectives at the scene say, Dr. Lee, we've been here 10 hours now. Nobody sees a shoe print. I say, you guys want to bet? They all like to bet with me. They all wind up losing. One of my sergeants lost 476 lunches. I refused to let him retire. So when you guys visit me, Sergeant Mills will buy you lunch, all right? And so I went back to my cruiser, took the chemical tetramethoxybenzidine spray on her back. Can you see that? The shoe print popped up. Polka dot design, Puma sneaker. They interviewed 3 suspects. I said, look for the one wearing Puma sneaker. polka dot design. Her former husband, guess what he wear? Puma sneaker, polka dot design. One piece evidence induced a confession. He right away confessed. He initially said, I know nothing about it. So timing is so important. If this body deny exam, sent to ME's office, what's going to happen? Washed it. Who said washed it? You said over there. Yeah, okay. Come on, do some work. Just don't sit there. All right. Washed down the drain. That piece of evidence will never, ever found anymore. This case happened in Rhode Island. Rhode Island commissioner, a good friend of mine, they found a college student report missing. 2 days later, her body found on the beach. He called me, Dr. Lee, can we borrow you for a weekend? All the lobster you can eat. So that's pretty good. And so me and my wife, we went there, finished 49 lobsters. 49 lobsters. And you look at her, right away we can tell that's a secondary scene. She was murdered someplace else and dumped there. On her blue jean, the soil material is completely different than the sand particle on the beach. That gives us an idea what the original scene looks like. It's an organic, rich soil surface. Her blood's missing. Her head was bashed like a piece of pancake. A pool of blood. Of course, we know the rock is not the weapon, because if somebody dropped this 40 pounds rock on her head, they're not going to pick up again. In addition, if dropped, we should see medium velocity impact spatter on at the sea and vegetative material. This pool of blood we estimate about 200 to 300 cc. How much blood she's supposed to have? That tells us original scene should have an abundant amount of blood. By the way, how much blood a normal person is supposed to have? 7 liters, 6 liters, any other? Nobody else knows that? Since you already ate the pizza, so when I finish my talk, before you leave, cut your finger, measure the volume of the blood. All right, 71.4 cc per kilogram. Just time your body weight, 71.4 cc. That gives you the clue. All right, since, all right, it's about 1 o'clock already. What time am I supposed to quit? Oh. I'm really disappointed about this. Disappointed. You give my badge back. No. Go ahead. So, all right, give you one too. All right. Oops. And 71.4 cc. Now, what else we see here? Tire track. Tire track, we can tell what kind of vehicle, what kind of tire. Nowadays, so easy. Early days, we have to memorize the tire mark, the tire track. Today, you just search. Put all the information there. They give you information. It's wonderful technology helping us. Also found a shoe print. That's a 3-dimensional indentation. There are 2-dimensional imprint. Left the shoe print, let the hard surface only have the length and width. This have length, width, and depth. It's a sneaker. Most of the time, we just photograph that, make a cast, send to the lab. 6 months later, laboratory issue a report consistent with a shoe print. You say, no shit, I know that. If the laboratory scientist little better say consistent with a sneaker print, is that going to help your case? No. That's why that moment, that's why I always say first 24 hours, you have to get the answer. What sneaker is this? What's the brand name? Commerce. Who in the back says that? Okay. Commerce. Excellent. So right away, if you can tell that's a Commerce, then you solve the case. Police look it up. One of her former boyfriend, another college student, guess what he wear? Commerce. He said, never in this part of beach in my life, except the sneaker have same particle pebbles, have same elemental composition as the beach sand. Case solved. One piece evidence provides such a linkage. Of course, shoeprint, this is a class characteristic, so-called individual characteristic. We look at the knit, the cut, missing piece, those what we compare. This is probably one of the best imprint case, but most sad case in my career ever investigate. This truck hit the police officer, took off. On Interstate I-84, we set up a roadblock between New York, Connecticut borderline. All the vehicles stopped, checking for clue. Hit and run case, we usually look for blood, hair, tissue, fibers. This truck was stopped, no blood, hair, tissue, fiber was found. They're ready to let it go, just happened, we're at the scene, under 160. Do you see a clean area? Yes? We use chemical fuming technique with side lighting. Guess what I developed? Scientific evidence. We don't need witnesses anymore. Tell us exactly what happened. That's from the trooper's uniform, and case was solved. That's a long story. You have to pay extra tuition to learn that. And of course, visualization. Because of the time, we're going to skip some of stuff, and because there's so many things we can talk about. Image enhancement now, frame imaging, color enhancement, and of course, laboratory instrumentation become important in our field. Everything is automated. Not only look at the image, the composition, and the data searching. Early days, we used to do hand extraction, all the robotic extraction. And this case happened in Delaware. And that time, Delaware investigate serial killer. They found 2 bodies in the state park. The Attorney General, Charlie Obley, was my good friend, called me, middle of the night, wake me up. Dr. Lee, are you busy? It's Sunday night, 2 o'clock in the morning, wake me up, asking me, am I busy? I said, am I busy? I said, 10 years ago, maybe I'm busy, and now I'm not too busy. He said, well, we found 2 bodies. Can you come over, give us a hand, helicopter en route to pick you up? 2 o'clock Sunday morning, nothing else to do. So get to the state park, helping them to look at the case. And we found a weapon. On the weapon, found single red fibers. Traditionally, a single red fiber, not much we can tell. But today, with all those instrumentation and infrared spectrophotometer, microspectrophotometer, we can do a whole spectrum analysis. We can check the information and data mining. Found out that DuPont Allen 66 are linked to the suspect. And we still don't have this instrument. We're still searching for this CSI News instrument. They put the hair in that instrument, and suspect's picture come out. Someday, hopefully, we'll have that instrument. We can solve more cases. Now, of course, other stuff, and of course, Carol now doing a lot of wonderful things about National Clearinghouse, about the database and information references. That will helping us tremendously. All those database and the information and prime mapping, we can do so much now. Don't worry about that. And DNA become very important. We look at the blueprint of human life. Of course, you probably remember a couple years ago, Oxford University found President Jefferson had a black son. When that news released, about 80-some people showed up at state police headquarters. That time was still commissioner for state police. Dr. Lee, I think my grandfather is George Washington. Other, they think they relate to Lincoln. I said, Jesus, that's pretty interesting. I better do some DNA, find out who is my ancestor. So Bill, I did find out my ancestor. My great-grandfather is Sir Thomas Lee from England. My grandfather is Light Horse Harry Lee. Anybody know him? Nobody? You all know my uncle, General Robert E. Lee? Yes. We share the same DNA. And what we can do with DNA, of course, identify victims remain. That's called squatting sleeping technique. Can you see that? I'm squatting and sleeping. I work long hours. Usually I don't get home midnight. Then just lie down, usually 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, have to go to a crime scene. They found some body part. So once we get there, they're arguing what to do. I take a nap. So they found out, I said, Dr. Lee, what's your advice? I said, quiet. Don't make a sound. We have to meditating, thinking. Of course, you want to identify the victims remain. Who are those victims? So DNA helping us out. And for example, 5 teenagers was murdered, dumping Lion Sound. We searching, found metal carbon. We found those bones, which means each of 4.5 of those bones, which means each of us only have 1, which means 5, and DNA helping us identify. And of course, Jeffrey Dahmer, all those cases. Because the time we're going to skip, we're going to do one more thing. What do you want me to talk about? Blood? Okay. We talk about OJ, huh? You like OJ? Why don't we talk about Clinton? All right. Suspect identification. We can, suspect verification, exoneration, developing linkage to suspect. This case happened in Morristown, Pennsylvania. Mother and a 7-year-old daughter Sunday went shopping, never got back. And police interview all the people, look at some scratches on this individual. He denies. 2 days later, her body found in a national park. In her fingernail, found small amount of DNA. We was able to provide a lead, solve the case. But DNA equally important, exonerate suspect. This case, we got involved, and Mr. Parker Mr. Green was arrested, charged for rape. He said, no, I did not do it. Nobody believed him. Witness identified him. He was convicted. 17 years later, data bank hit a different individual, Parker. Took 17 years. And of course, the biggest case, DNA case, is our president's case. When this case just started, everybody think I have the address. About 300-400 reporters come to Connecticut. Dr. Lee, we understand you have the address. I said, no, I don't have the address. They don't believe me. I said, I never owned an address in my life. They still don't believe me. The reason they think I have the address, some of you know I'm the chief forensic advisor for Congress and Kenneth Starr on Whitewater investigation, Vincent Foster, that 1.5 years controversial. Finally, with FBI agent, independent counsel, investigator, we went to Mercy Park and spent 8 weekends re-studying all the evidence, finally conclude that's a suicide case. So they think something important as address. Judge Starr definitely sent to Connecticut. I don't have the address. But I do remember the day. My day usually long. Usually by 3, 4 o'clock, I don't like to answer phone call. My secretary ran to my office, Dr. Lee Washington call. I said, tell them I'm busy. 5 minutes later, they said, Congress call. Congress call. I said, still busy. Except my mother, don't bother me. She said, not your mother, but the country needs you. I said, Jesus, you should say that earlier. So I salute the telephone. I said, country, what you want me for? Country said, please come to D.C. We need something, your opinion to look at something. I said, what kind of thing? Oh, can't talk about. I said, what kind of case? National security, hush, hush. So I played allegiance to the flag, keep my mouth shut, get to D.C., step in the jailway. I thought nobody knows me. Wrong. 7A reporter with cameraman waiting. Dr. Lee. I said, no, I'm Peter Wang. They look at me, say, you're Dr. Lee. I said, you guys always say Chinese look-alike. How do you know I'm Dr. Lee? They say, you come here for president case. I say, I don't know what I'm coming here for. Next morning, have a cartoon. Say, Dr. Lee was summoned to White House. Check the White House carpet. Look for semen dripping. Give me a break. Do I look like this? Of course not, right? All my friends said, don't worry about it. You know, when you become a cartoon character in this country, you made it. Doesn't matter how bad it look, especially like color cartoon. They all want to know, is his zipper up or down? Of course, the dress, right? That's the dress. Is that the same dress? I don't know. Took me a lot of research. Regular DNA. What regular DNA looks like? Double helix, right? That's regular DNA. That's Clinton's DNA. All right. Now, just the time goes by so fast and we really don't have time to cover some stuff. OJ trial, of course, one thing they tried to impeach me, of course, now 10 years later, we learned so much about that case. That case did not, like media predicted, we're going to have a riot. The racial differences, it's not going to become a problem. The country is still a cold country. That's probably the best country. I travel around the world. No country like the United States. The justice system, we have problem with our justice system. But no other justice system like our country. This case is kind of an interesting case. It's a learning experience for myself too. The law enforcement community will learn so much. It's 10 years now. I watch Court TV and A&E channel. They're going to have a new information come out. But during the trial, we found something interesting. Is let me show you that the DNA issue. We just talked about DNA issue. Defense want to challenge DNA. Barry Shack, Peter Newfield, they are all excellent attorney, good friend, and I tell them, count me out. I believe DNA. DNA should be used, could be used. That's O.J. Simpson's DNA. They did not believe me. They put me on the stand. I said, that's O.J. DNA. So that day, prosecution so happy. Defense shot yourself with their DNA expert. They want to take me out for dinner. Johnny Cochran and Bob Shapiro don't even want to talk to me. Attorneys, they take sides. Scientists, we cannot. We have to call as it is. Scientists and investigators, we are supposed to represent the public, the justice. We have to call as it is. We're not in the adversary system. But the next day, table turned around. Prosecution ready to kill me. Defense want to take me out for dinner. Those samples, 48, 52, 50, 52, June 13, they collect, put in the test tube back to the laboratory, dry overnight, DNA extraserology, DK Parker Center, ECU, Department of Justice, Elmar. Sample is dry, definitely dry. Meet the scientific guideline. When I open up the packet, that's the sample they collect. They transfer the blood on the swatches dry, supposed to dry. Do you see something I see here? If this sample dry, should we see that? No, definitely not. So not dry. Unfortunately, they said definitely dry, so something is wrong. If you look at the size and shape, is that the same or different? Different. Even today, we still don't know what did happen. So nobody have an answer. But everybody have a headache. So they can't really challenge my credential or the scientific funding because their own expert agree they're not dry now. So they challenged the ruler. They took my ruler to National Bureau, to Washington, compare, found the ruler is 1/1000th an inch short. That ruler became the biggest sort of thing. Middle of the trial, the ruler was pulled out. Dr. Lee, that's your ruler. That really scared the shit out of me, right? My ruler, what's to do with the trial? I say, yes, that's my ruler. I cannot say that's Carol Henderson's ruler because my name is here. I cannot say that's Peter Wong, right? So I say, yes, sir, that's my ruler. Do you know your ruler 1/1000th inch short? I say, sorry, counselor, I don't know. Does that make your examination invalid? I said, of course not. How come? I said, read my report. My report said approximately 5.2 inches. That's a good lesson for younger scientist investigator here. Always cover your back, okay? Approximately, similar to, consistent with, maybe, could be. We never tell you exact. And so 1/1000th inch doesn't make a difference. I did not report 5.200 inches. Judge Ito said, excellent, excellent, move on. They don't want to give up, want to beat on me a couple more times. You're a scientist. Scientists have to be exact. I said, counselor, give me a break. $1.49, I bought it. So this ruler became famous. Judge Ito won the ruler, Johnny Cochran won the ruler, Marshall Clark, everybody won ruler. A newspaper have a headline, Dr. Lee have a ruler 1/1000th inch short. I got 14,000 requests for rulers. 14,000. Everybody want a ruler. They're sending $80, $100 for a little ruler. If I'm really smart, I can retire a long time ago, just make 10,000 rulers. I did not know ruler really that expensive until 3 years ago. My other sergeant in charge computer crime ran to my office, Dr. Lee, you have to check the eBay. I said, why? Your ruler on eBay. $495. Somebody stupid enough bought it. They don't know I have a ruler machine in my basement. So today we're going to give out a couple of rulers. See who is the lucky person, all right? So how are we going to give out a ruler? We're going to have some quiz, some question. Who can answer those questions? All right? Anyway, solve a lot of cases. Some newspaper call me king of the crime scene. Other paper call me something else I don't even know. But the picture looked pretty good. And what language is this? Who say Chinese? Okay, the judge friend. Come on, come forward. That's your ruler. Give him a hand. But that's 1/1000th inch short. 1/1000 inch, you understand?
I understand.
When you measure yourself, edit the 1/1000th inch. All right? He doesn't understand. What language is this? Come on, next ruler. No, not Czechoslovakia. Huh? No, not Bulgaria. Huh? Huh? Malaysia, excellent, excellent, excellent. Come on, come forward. That's your ruler. You're most welcome. All right. Russian. No. We don't have any Jewish people here? Who's a Hebrew? Okay, come forward. All right, one more. Huh? No. No. Who said Polish? Okay, come forward. Okay. You have to say louder. Otherwise, somebody else got it. Now, 1,000 inch short, all right? Yeah, you understand. Rushing, okay. That's it. That's it. Okay. That side, nobody get it? All right, I have to give one. Whose birthday is November 22nd? Any of you? Huh? 23rd. Next week? All right, two of you share this. You figure it out, okay? You guys will figure it out to work out, okay? And once again, I want to thank you all for coming, because the time we did not have time to cover other subject area, but always have next time. Thank you so much. Thank you.